Warning: this video features one or more ships that are primarily acquired through gambling mechanics. The chance of winning such ships is very low, and there's no guarantee that you will win regardless of how many times you gamble. If you think you might have a problem with gambling addiction, please stop the video and seek help immediately. Greetings everyone, and welcome back to another Starship review. Today we're going to look at the Parliament Miracle Workers Survey Cruiser. This is a lower deck ship that was recently added to the Infinity Lockbox with all of the other lower decks content. Most of the other stuff that would have normally gone into a lower decks lockbox went directly into the Lobby store, and this ship went directly into the Infinity box. A lot of people are not very happy with this ship because it is, as I might say, anti-tactical or anti-meta. It really seems to be designed around science and engineering, which are obviously not what people want for doing damage. I do feel like this is a callback to the old days of the game. People who may not have been around that long may not remember. When a new ship would come out, we actually used to get 3 variants. So there'd be an engineering variant, a tactical variant, and a science variant. And this was for like every ship. So you'd be for raiders, cruisers, everything. You'd have like these 3 versions of it. And they really weren't all that different from each other. And I'm glad they've moved away from it. But as a result, we don't get these variations anymore. Because they tend to just, if they're only going to do one ship, they tend to just give you the one they think is going to be the most desirable of those 3. So for this to be a science-oriented cruiser really reminds me of that. And I think a lot of people were kind of hoping that, you know, that period of the game was gone and we weren't going to get those kinds of ships anymore. So it may not be for everyone, but I think there's someone out there that this is for, and not just for lower decks fans, because damage isn't everything in the game. But it is true that this is not a very good ship for doing damage. You can't have anything better than a Lieutenant Tactical Power. It only has 2 tactical console slots. You can get it up to 4 because it is a full Miracle Worker ship. It does have that extra console slot, and you can bring it up to tier 6X to get, you know, 1 more on top of that. But yes, ultimately this is not a great ship for doing DPS. I did what I might call an Arnold Palmer build. I really leaned heavily into Mixed Armament Synergy 3, which is a power you can get, a Miracle Worker power. And I just put a little bit of everything in here. Mines, torpedoes, cannons, beams, the kind of thing people tell you not to do. You're watching the background footage while I'm talking. It's on elite difficulty. I'm killing the enemies. I'm not dying. Everything is fine. I put up a poll asking you guys what difficulty you normally play on. I was surprised at how high the elite category was, but it's still only around 12%, and that's just not that many people. There should be a caveat next to all my performance scores that says this score only applies to elite difficulty. If you're on normal or advanced, every tier 6 ship is a 5-star ship. If you're struggling with those difficulties, it's probably because you haven't developed your character, you don't have your specialization points, you don't have your reputations done, you're not upgrading your gear, that kind of thing, or maybe your build is just a mess. It's not your ship, I promise you. Any ship, including this ship, can do just fine even on elite difficulty. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and take a look at the accessories. First up, the console, controlled gravimetric demolition. It gives you kinetic and physical damage resistances, hull capacity, and EPG as passives. And these are pretty generous, but they're not overly desirable. The clicky creates a dome that kills enemy engines, which is the most interesting part to me because it stops them dead in their tracks, and gives them a -15 kinetic damage resistance debuff for 30 seconds. During that 30-second window, you can click it again to add a kinetic dot, a small one, to all enemies in the dome for 9 seconds. And then on the 10th second, that last tick of the dot will be a big amount of kinetic damage. It's a powerful effect if you can get it in the right situation where you have a lot of enemies inside and they live long enough to take all the damage. It can do some okay damage. It has some niche appeal for support builds who are trying to support people doing kinetic damage, but overall I would say it's definitely not a must-have. It does have some uses, but it's not, you know, a top meta console or anything like that. I think some people were thinking that it might be, but I would say it's safe to say it's not. The trait Efficient Demolition gives you subsystem power when defeating an enemy to the subsystem with the lowest power. It's not all of your subsystems. The first stack is 5 power, and subsequent stacks give you 10 power. It's not the worst subsystem power trait in the game because there's a lot of bad ones, but all of them are bad, so it's still terrible. Okay, and time for the ratings. In terms of performance, I'm going to give it a very generous 2 stars. The fact that it seems to have been intentionally designed to be anti-meta or anti-tactical bolsters it a little bit, because I think I should take that into consideration and give it a chance to stand as it was intended versus what I would want it to be. But the category is still called performance, and it's still a lackluster performer, so 2 is the best I can possibly do here. In terms of accessories, I'm only giving it 3 stars. The trait is terrible, and while the console does have some uses, it doesn't stand out to me as something you should go out of your way to get. Certainly don't buy the ship for it. In conclusion, it's a nice looking ship. I really do like the way it looks. And if you're a fan of Lower Decks and you want to roleplay Lower Decks, sure, go for it, absolutely. But if that's not the case, especially for the premium price tag, I say hard pass. Thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe so you can see more of my stuff in the future. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.